a contract negotiation that was going on. ESPN certainly did not want to lose her. But in the end, rather, she made a decision to walk away from the show.
Ask me the details, because I'm not going to tell y'all the details. That's none of y'all business. Oh, and I don't know the details.
he made it sound like something wild happened.
Correct.
And there's no reason.
Molly Qerim just blasted Stephen A. Smith in the dirtiest way imaginable. She's claiming he straight up betrayed her for a fat $2 million deal. And that move didn't just end her ESPN career, it shattered her entire reputation.
So they're reporting that it's supposed to be the end of the year. Molly, by action, says it's right now. Instead of, I'm leaving now, I'm leaving right now. She made it immediate. And then Stephen A. Smith makes the statement. Now, interesting once again, see, peep all these differences, right? These contradictions in terms of how they usually move and how they're moving with Molly. Max Kellerman left. Stephen A. Smith didn't even show up for the last day. Remember that? Interesting. And we all know that typically they don't talk about talent when they're gone. They just say, thank you for your services and we wish you well. This is a little different for many reasons. So when they're trying to paint it, it looks a lot different.
The wildest part? Molly isn't talking without proof. She's got the receipts, leaked phone calls, behind closed doors meetings, and text messages that allegedly point right at Stephen A. Now the industry's buzzing. Did Stephen really sell out Molly for a quick payout, or is she flipping the script to take him down? The tension is off the charts. Let's rewind to September 15th, 2025, the day everything fell apart for Molly. It was a normal Monday morning. She walked into ESPN like always, calm and collected. But when she got to her office, there it was, a single letter sitting on her desk. And it wasn't a thank you or promotion type of letter. Oh no, it was a notice telling her that by December, she'd be out of a job. Done, gone, finished. After nearly 10 years of holding down First Take, managing massive egos and keeping chaos under control, all that loyalty meant nothing. They told her to pack her things and leave the building like she never existed. And the disrespect, unbelievable. Molly didn't even get the chance to break the news herself.
Molly is a co-worker. Molly is somebody that I have leaned on many occasions in the past, as she has done when it comes to me. We've been partners on the show for the last 10 years. And a lot of times, some of these things happen, and it's just uncomfortable to see. The details, quite frankly, are none of y'all business. But it's not as if I know all the details.
One second she's grinding at work, and the next, every sports outlet is blasting headlines like Molly Qerim set to leave ESPN after contract talks collapse. It hit her like a ton of bricks. She was blindsided, embarrassed, and heartbroken all at once. That same night, Molly took to Instagram and poured her heart out with a post that showed just how deep the wound went. She wrote, "Now that the news came out earlier than I intended and not in the way I hoped, that single line broke fans' hearts. 10 whole years of blood, sweat, and energy building First Take into ESPN's crown jewel. And just like that, it all crumbled right in front of the world." But the real bomb dropped the next morning. Molly was gone. No appearance on First Take, no goodbye segment, nothing. She straight up resigned instead of sitting quietly through the rest of her contract. That move had ESPN scrambling like never before, because nobody expected her to walk out like that. Then came the so-called official statement from ESPN president Burke Magnus, all polished, all corporate. He said they respect Molly's decision and wish her the best, but he didn't say a word about why it was so sudden. That silence screamed louder than words. Too dry, too cold. That's not how you send off a decade-long face of your network. That's when Stephen A. Smith stepped right into the chaos, because suddenly Molly's downfall didn't look like a simple network decision anymore. It looked personal. Insiders were calling it an emergency exit.
It was a contract negotiation that was going on. ESPN certainly did not want to lose her. But in the end, rather, she made a decision to walk away from the show effective immediately, as you see from her Instagram post, her Instagram story last night.
And even former ESPN host Marcellus Wiley broke it down in a live session that had fans shook. People couldn't stop asking, why did Molly just vanish like that? One day she's on First Take, the next morning she's gone like a ghost. But when Stephen A. entered the picture, things started making sense. And what he said made it clear that this betrayal didn't come from suits at ESPN. It came from someone way closer, her own co-host, the man she trusted for 10 years. The day after she quit, Stephen A. sat alone on set. No Molly beside him, just an awkward silence hanging in the air. You could hear the tension in his voice as he tried to explain her sudden disappearance. But what came next was wild. He told viewers that the details of Molly leaving were none of our business, and then claimed he didn't even know the details himself. How does that make sense? Things got real shady when Stephen A started talking about contract deals. One minute he claimed he didn't know anything, the next he was spilling details only an insider would know.
Report comes out. That report comes out the next morning. Instead of Molly showing up to work, she puts out an Instagram post. And in that Instagram post, you guys remember, one thing she didn't mention was anybody by name, including Stephen A. Smith. Now, I've left a show or two before, and trust me, you're gonna name some names when you leave that. Just think about Shannon Sharp when he left Undisputed. Goodness, it took about 10 minutes of all the names he dropped. That's my point. Molly didn't do that. So that lets you know already there's some friction behind this.
Fans caught it instantly, and the internet lit up with people calling him out for double talking like crazy. But while Stephen was fumbling his words, Molly's silence said it all. Her farewell post on Instagram spoke volumes, and what she didn't say hit harder than what she did. She thanked the fans, the show, even the crew behind the scenes. But one name was missing, Stephen A. Smith. Not once, not even a casual mention. That silence screamed betrayal. People started piecing it together, almost like Stephen was in the room when her fate was sealed, knowing exactly how it went down. And when fans compared it to other exits, the difference was obvious. Shannon Sharp, for example, spent nearly 10 minutes giving props to everyone when he left Undisputed. But Molly, after a whole decade beside Stephen A., she couldn't even type his name in her goodbye. That's cold. One insider summed it up perfectly. Molly didn't just walk away, she made a statement. It was crystal clear she wasn't trying to leave quietly or fade into the background. She wanted her exit to sting. And what better way than to leave Stephen A. Smith, the very man she claims betrayed her, sitting alone on live TV, forced to explain why she was suddenly gone. That's cold-blooded revenge right there. By then, the sports world was spinning with rumors, but nobody had the full story. Then Stephen started talking, and that's when it all started to click. Every time he opened his mouth, fans caught more clues that he might have been the reason Molly got pushed out. Here's where it gets wild. Stephen A. isn't just another face on ESPN. He's the guy in the inner circle. He's sitting in those private meetings where decisions get made. Who gets renewed, who gets paid, and who gets cut. His voice carries serious weight at that table. Meanwhile, Molly was pulling in around $500,000 a year, which sounds nice until you realize Stephen was raking in over $20 million. That kind of power gap says everything.
I'm watching, and I've been watching over the last several years, people in this business fall by the wayside because we forget that all of us ultimately answer to people. We don't get to define our own value. We don't get to define our own worth. We don't get to sit there and summarily say, this is who I am and this is what I'm going to do. And guess what? I don't give a damn what anybody say unless you have the leverage to do it. Because business is all about.
That's 40 times her salary. Wild, right? Even smaller show hosts were getting paid more than Molly. So when her contract came up, she finally asked for what she earned. Fair pay, real respect, and more opportunities. But instead of negotiating, ESPN shut her down and told her to be grateful. That's when everything snapped. Molly decided she wasn't leaving quietly. And her first target, Stephen A. Smith. She started liking and retweeting posts calling him a hypocrite, and one of those tweets went viral overnight. But what really set her off was when Stephen went on air pretending not to talk about her, while describing her situation word for word. He said, some people overestimate their value and end up losing everything. Fans caught it immediately, and that's when the internet exploded. People were furious. Stephen A. talking about humility? Please. This is the same man who's turned every one of his own contract talks into full-blown drama. Back in 2009, he got dropped from ESPN for pushing too hard, later admitting his ego cost him his job. And in 2024, he did it again. Went on a whole media tour comparing himself to Dak Prescott just to pressure the network for more money. So when that guy turned around and shaded Molly Qerim, the woman who helped him rise, fans lost it. Fans called foul instantly. The backlash was brutal. Twitter, YouTube, podcasts, everyone was dragging Stephen A. like never before. And the craziest part, he's gone completely silent. Not a word about the Molly Qerim situation. Almost like he knows that staying quiet is the only way to survive this storm. Because let's be real, anything he says now would just pour more gas on the fire. But Molly? Oh, she's not done talking. If ESPN thought she'd just fade away, they were dead wrong. She's coming for answers. And she's not stopping with Stephen A. Smith. The deeper she digs, the messier this whole thing gets. And when the truth finally hits daylight, it won't just be Stephen's name on the line. It could shake the entire network. So what do you think? Is Molly about to expose the whole system? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and share button for more explosive updates like this. It's about to get crazy.